Hey guys, it's Rick. It's February 13th. Let's talk about what I watched the first week of January. It is time for reviews. I got 7 movies to talk about, 4 of which are physical, and then there's some stuff we watched on streaming, including one that I'm sure you guys have been waiting to hear my thoughts on. So let's dive right in. The first movie of 2021 that was consumed by thine eyes is a movie that was sent to me to review from Paramount Home Entertainment, and that is Love and Monsters on 4K. I have heard so many great things about this. I had seen reviews of people who loved it. Crazy Joe raved about it on his podcast and did a video. So I was excited to check this one out, and it was really entertaining. I really enjoyed this. It was sent to me on 4K to review. It's basically a post-apocalypse monster mashup love story about Dylan O'Brien's character from The Maze Runner and American Assassin, and I think he was on Teen Wolf, if I'm not mistaken. And he's in this world where everybody has these underground bunkers, and he's not very good at weaponry. He cooks and does the cleaning in his group. He is a girl who is separated from before the apocalypse. He finds her. She's in another bunker miles away, like 80 miles away. And he sets out to find her. And there's a dog that comes into the story along the way that is absolutely fantastic. Michael Rooker and Ariana Greenblatt are 2 characters who he encounters on his journey. I wish they were in the movie so much more. They were so good in this movie, and I just really thought this was a fun watch. Love and Monsters was a great time. Like I said, action, suspense, comedy, romance, all in one film. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed Love and Monsters quite a bit. Highly would recommend it. It looks nice on 4K as well, and this is making the shelf. It is staying in my collection. So Love and Monsters, very cool, very fun there. Next up is a movie I got from Facebook with one of my recent obsessions, Geraldine Viswanathan. If you watched my Best of the Year list, I talked about her in Bad Education. I know her from Blockers and The Package, both of which I really enjoyed. And that is the Broken Hearts Gallery. And the guy there, who I don't know if I have his name. His name is spelled D-A-C-R-E. Is that Dacre? Is it Darcy, but spelled wrong? Anyway, he plays one of the characters. He plays Billy in Stranger Things seasons 2 and 3, I believe. So he plays the romantic interest in the film, and she is a girl who doesn't let go of the past. She keeps little things from all her previous relationships, and it helps her tell stories of her relationships. She wants to start a gallery where people bring things from their past relationships to tell their stories. And it's just a fun, like, romantic comedy. She gets broken up with by the guy she's dating. She gets embarrassed, fired, drunk in this one scene, and then meets this guy. We'll call him Billy from Stranger Things, because I don't know how to pronounce his name. She thinks that that's her Uber driver. She just gets in his car randomly. And it's a fun romantic comedy. Good cast. I enjoy it quite a bit. It'll make my shelf. I'll keep it. I'm fighting a sneeze. Can you guys tell I'm doing this? I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed Broken Hearts Gallery. And like I said, that'll stay on the shelf. I enjoyed this one. So, very cool. Next up, let's dive into it. Let's talk about it. We watched Wonder Woman 1984 on HBO Max. So, you guys have heard me talk about DCEU movies before. I did not like Man of Steel, and the rest of the DCEU movies have been good to me. Not great, not awful, but good. They all, I think I've rated all of them 3.5. Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, which I thought was highly overhyped, the first one. Birds of Prey and Shazam are probably my two favorite out of the DCEU. And so we dive in to Wonder Woman 1984, which starts out with a bunch of Amazon women playing Quidditch. If you want to dispute that, go back and watch the beginning of Wonder Woman 1984. They're pretty much playing Quidditch. They're throwing a ball that's golden through hoops. It is Quidditch fully. But then right after the Quidditch scene, there's a fantastic scene where young Diana takes on a ninja warrior course, essentially, in a competition with horse riding. Is just shot beautifully. It looked great. And the movie then gives us a really fun action scene with Wonder Woman in a 1980s mall. I'm like, man, I'm going to love this movie. Like, it started out a really cool action scene with a young girl playing young Diana that was fantastic, shot beautifully. Then we get this fun action scene in a mall with Wonder Woman. And then the movie falls into a weird place. There's this weird thing. She meets Kristen Wiig's character, who it's almost like they're courting each other, like they're dating. It's weird. And Kristen Wiig's character is weird. You can tell that something's off with her. She's not a very popular person. And then she turns into Catwoman from the 1992 Batman Returns film. So I had seen that before. Pedro Pascal is really good as Max Lord, probably the highlight of the film. But the movie suffers from being way too long. It's 2.5 hours. It does not need to be that long. I mean, there easily could have been 45 minutes of stuff cut out of this film, and it would have been a better movie. It would have not lost anything. It would have not, none of the development would have been lost. I would have cut out a lot of the weird Kristen Wiig, Gal Gadot stuff in the beginning. Some of the stuff with Max Lord's character and backstory, you can trim a lot of that out, in my opinion. And the CGI gets really sloppy in the later part of the film. And I think that bringing back Chris Pine for the film was a big mistake. I know why they did it. So I was not a fan. I gave this a 2.5 out of 5. It's above Man of Steel for me, but it's below everything else in the DCEU. This is actually probably going to be a movie. I was sent a review solicit about it, and I don't think I'm going to request it. I don't know if I want to take up a shelf space with it, because I personally don't see me rewatching this at any time. And if I did, I would watch the first 20 minutes on 4K to see how good it looked, and I would just stop the movie. It just didn't do anything for me. But it wasn't awful. It was just way too long, and just, it felt okay. So Wonder Woman 84, like I said, a 2.5 out of 5 for me. Didn't love it, didn't hate it, just was meh for me. So next up, number 4 movie I watched this year. That was weird how I said that. I just recorded my best and worst. So the next thing we watched was Soul on Disney+. Pete Docter is the director of the film. Could he be one of the best animation directors ever for me? He's directed Inside Out and then Up and Monsters, Inc., which are 2 of my favorite animated movies ever. And he follows it up with Soul. Soul's led by Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey as the 2 lead voices. Jamie Foxx plays Joe, who's a music teacher. He used to be a jazz musician, following in his dad's footsteps, and you can tell he's not happy being a music teacher. He still wants to be a musician and travel and do jazz. He suffers an unfortunate accident and enters an in-between. He befriends a infant soul named 22, voiced by Tina Fey, and there's some really fun humor that takes place after that. There's some body swap stuff that's really funny that takes place after that. I think it's a great movie for older kids and adults. I think it has a really great message, and it is a deep film for a Disney Pixar movie. But I could see this movie for under 12-year-olds being something they don't love. They might like it. It might look cool, especially to younger kids. But I just think a lot of it will be lost on like that 6 to 12-year-old demographic. Which if you're making a Disney Pixar movie, that's like your bread and butter. But I guess if you get them to go see it, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so I think the movie really shows a lot about cherishing life, how important life itself is, and the journey we experience throughout our lives. So it definitely, has a very good message. Didn't make me cry or anything. I saw some reports of people bawling their eyes out. Wasn't there for me. I gave Soul 3.5 out of 5. As you guys know, I mentioned it in my Best of the Year honorable mentions, so I enjoyed it quite a bit. So yes, there was that. And then next was something that was sent to me by Mill Creek Entertainment. I did a video about this, and that is Accepted, which I love this movie. Was so excited to see it finally got a Blu-ray release. My first experience with Jonah Hill was watching Accepted. Justin Long is phenomenal in this movie as, what's his name? Bartleby Gaines, I believe. And, yeah, him and Jonah have great chemistry in this movie. Apparently they were like best friends while they were filming this, and after they end up living together for a little while. And, God, it's just such a fun story. It's a bit far-fetched, the conclusion especially, like, I don't think that would pan out the way it does in the movie. Lewis Black is great as the dean of the college that they form. It was interesting to me watching the deleted scenes and bonus features. It felt like this was intended initially to possibly be an R-rated film, and they toned it down to make it PG-13 to get to a wider audience. And I think it does a good job. Like, I don't think it's ruined by being a PG-13 film, but you could tell they wanted to go a little more graphic and vulgar, especially Lewis Black's character. But I enjoyed it quite a bit, nonetheless. 3.5 out of 5 accepted. Next up was also from Mill Creek. They sent over Like Father, Like Son to review. Bridget had never seen this. I watched it when I was a young kid. It stars Kirk Cameron and Dudley Moore, and also a very young Sean Astin, who plays his best friend, Kirk Cameron's best friend. So this is a classic late 80s body swap movie. Same time frame as Vice Versa and Big. Like, this was made right 87, so right before Big. Same year as Vice Versa. What do I have written here? Dudley Moore is a doctor who's going for chief of staff. Kirk Cameron is a high school kid who's trying to get into college and has a crush on a girl and trying to go out with her. He's a track star. They end up swapping bodies. Fun occurs. And the film, apparently I wrote here, Sean Astin gets to say the one F word because it's a PG-13 film. And it's probably the best line of the movie. I found myself laughing out loud through numerous parts of this film. So it does a good job. It holds up in that aspect. And I found myself laughing out loud in numerous parts, especially when Dudley Moore was in, when Kirk Cameron was in Dudley Moore's body. And when Sean Astin was on the screen. I thought that's when the movie really shined. So, Like Father, Like Son, I give a 3 out of 5 to. And then the last movie we're going to talk about in this video is You Cannot Kill David Arquette, which we watched on Hulu. Now, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and this movie is basically about David Arquette, who was actually a WCW World Champion in 2000. He was promoting the film Ready to Rumble, which he starred in, that was about wrestling. So in actual professional wrestling, they put the title on him in WCW, and pro wrestling fans hated that moment. They regard it as one of the worst moments in wrestling history. They think that he was part of the reason WCW collapsed, even though it wasn't his idea. It was the writer's idea to give him the title and have him be the champion in WCW. So this tells the story. He basically has a lot of health issues, but he decides that he wants to get back in their wrestling game and experience wrestling the way a lot of wrestlers do. He goes to backyard wrestling organization. He goes to a wrestling school. He goes to the indies. He basically tries to lucha libre, and he studies different aspects of professional wrestling to get a full appreciation for professional wrestling. And this is fast forward to like 2018, so it's fairly recently. There's some stuff that I knew happened to him because I remember reading about it, that I was like watching part of the movie like this because I knew it was coming. He suffered a pretty crazy thing because he was wrestling in like death matches, which are when you use all sorts of weapons in professional wrestling, and something went wrong in one of those matches. So I really enjoyed You Cannot Kill David Arquette. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Like I said, I thought it was really well done. And yeah, so that is it, guys. That is what I watched the first week of January 2021. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe if you guys don't do so already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you guys thought of the movies I watched. Did you guys watch them? What did you think about them? And hit the bell notification that's up there or over there, so you guys know when new videos drop on my channel. And be sure to check out the description box down below, where you can find links to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, eBay, Amazon wishlist, Blu-ray.com profile, email address, P.O. box can all be found down below. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, until next time, who's down to movie?